Hello everyone, how very good of you to join and welcome back once again to another Anno 117 live stream. So today, first of all, welcome back again. There's so many people already waiting for this. We continue playing the beta version that we had last time, or we're looking at the gameplay material again, like in the last session on Friday. And of course, we have a bunch of new information, right? Because yesterday there was the Xbox game showcase, and yeah, the Anno developers released a whole bunch of new information. Also a new trailers, new gameplay material, a bunch more features, deep dive, and also the release date finally. And also, and that is really cool, the first season pass, right? So season pass 1, what they've planned for the first year after release. So in this case, we will have a look at all of that. And I'm really excited because there's a whole bunch of really cool features, right, that I've been hoping for. And yeah, also, spoiler alert, we already know the location of the very first content DLC, and that is Egypt, right? So I was really pretty sure they would go for Egypt, right? Because that's just the logical choice when you're having an Anno or a city builder in Roman times, right? That you are going to Egypt as well, and I'm super excited about that. But we're looking at that a bit later. Right now, we're still once again in the gameplay of the beta. I want to, give people a chance here to move in a bit before we look at all the new information, before I kick it off right away. And yeah, hello there, Aloksha. And Pace KFTW and Jake Johnston, welcome. It looks like it could be better, yes, but Anno 1800 is a very good game. I don't wanna compare the games all the time, right? So each one has its own right. Like, Anno 117 can't exist without Anno 1800, right? Because 1800 was before that, so you have a successor, so you can't say one is better than the other one, because the successor cannot exist without the predecessor. And hello there, welcome, Dimitar. Welcome back. Thanks. So glad to see so many known names already, familiar names that we have there. All right, so we continue onwards here with the city for a while, and then we look at all the new stuff that was released, right? As we advance now to tier 3 population, so we left it off in the last session with that, and with that we also get the advanced service buildings now, like the forum that we need, right, like an amphitheater. So the game gets a bit complex now with tier 3. That is going to be really interesting, especially also the bath. And Baron, hello there, glad you enjoy the content. Welcome back to Anno once again. 117, right? It's coming out this year. That is something to celebrate. I was already a bit hesitant, because they just said winter 2025, yes. So, they kept it kind of like vague. But yesterday they revealed it's November 13, so the middle of November, right? We can finally jump in, and perhaps even a bit before that, right? I'm also hoping there's another playtest coming, of course. That would be fantastic. So something where we can all enjoy the game in an open beta or something like that. That would be pretty cool, right? If we can go ahead with that. So I think with Anno 1800 they did the same thing, right? So we had an open beta right before release where you can play the game. That was fantastic, even though of course it's a version usually that has still a lot of headaches with it. And Pace, yes, I definitely also can't wait to really build my first city, right? So we built the city, of course, already in the beta gameplay, but it was only up to tier 3, and I can't wait to see an endgame city. They've also released a bunch of new screenshots, and also the paved roads that we're gonna have. Interestingly enough, you need to unlock them with research, I think, before you can actually build them. That's something that we're looking out. They send out emails for beta, yes, but that is a closed beta, right, for selected playtesters. Usually people with a bit of a history with Ubisoft playtesting, so it's not the open beta yet. So that's something to keep in mind in this case. Alright, we have no tier 3, right? So in this case here, the buildings look fantastic, and it's only the 3rd tier, so there's more tiers after this, right? And tier 3 already makes the whole city look like a real Roman town then, real Roman city. Just lovely. I don't think we've ever had a city builder in Roman times that looked so detailed and so complete in its package, right? So this is definitely something to be hyped about. Yeah, there we have the ruins again, right? So the Coliseum ruin. Still no idea what they're doing with that. They haven't released any new info. Is it just really there to demolish, to add some atmosphere to it? Or is it really a gameplay mechanic? Because there's no information on that yet. Alright, also we need the limestone quarry here. So that's the third building material that we have, concrete. Right, so we're working with timber, the tiles, so the bricks more or less, tiles. And then you have the concrete now that you're using for your tier 3 building material. And you can also see that there's still 2 slots available. Then we have the charcoal, right? So we're working with probably 5 construction materials for the Roman city, right? So the Celtic city in Albion that will have probably different building materials. So in this case here, we are working with 5 for the Roman city. In the release version, right, that you need to toggle, to juggle. Interestingly enough, the concrete also will need a coastal side that you can have. Also, that is interesting, right? We have the fixed river slots, we have the fixed mountain slots, but we have open ocean slots, right? So the beach is always individual. You can freely build over there. You can even have roads again, piers, quays into the water again, and then adjust or build several buildings next to each other in the ocean, right? Like with Anno 1800. What feature do you like the most about the new gameplay? It's the it's the paved roads, honestly. I love them, right? I was hoping, because there was no paved roads yet in the beta version that I played. So I was already a bit, you know,
I trust you.
Cautious what they're gonna be. They're unlocked with attack. That's something to look forward to. Wake up there. Hello there. Yes, you can build keys again, right? That's just basically the same. Pax Rhetorica, that's one of the quests that we can have, and declare the value that will guide your leadership. So I also like that they're mixing it up again. Release date November 13 is the release date. So you can now push into. Note, this is not new gameplay. This is gameplay from the beta that I've played and I've recorded, right? Looking at that again. But it's the unedited version, right? So there's a bit more in it than the edited Let's Play. Because in the edited Let's Play, I was cutting out a lot of stuff to stick to the time embargo. This is the unedited one, right? So there might be a bunch of things that you haven't seen yet. First DLC has already been confirmed, right? So we already have the 3 DLCs that we can have a look at, right? So, you know what? Let's actually have a look at that, right? Let's go for the material that they've already released, because it was a bunch of things that you can look forward to. Yes, absolutely, right? So that's something you can do. But you know, we have like the trailer that they've released yesterday.
If you want to be immortalized,
we can have a look at that real quick. I think there's the release date at the end of it.
In greatness.
November 13th.
If governing is your
Interesting enough, it's the same guy again from the reveal trailer a year ago.
Find a religion
Or fight!
or more.
Romanize your territories, or keep them Celtic if you please.
Sharpen your steel or lose your head. I'd prefer Pax Romana instead.
And there you have it then, right? So that was the release trailer yesterday with the November 13th. I think they really have a great humor. So yes, yeah, you can also see tier 4 and tier 5 houses, right? And the Coliseum. With the tier 5 houses, I'm especially interested in, because they're really tall, right? Getting really tall there. And that's something we haven't really seen in the beta yet. That's the naval combat that you can have then. That is something, right? And then they also got the land combat
PC
trailer.
and consoles. Today, we are excited to reveal a feature that fans has been asking for a long time. Land combat. It's the year 117, peak Rome. United by conquest, the empire found its way to peace. In Anno 117 Pax Romana, you build your dream empire. As governor, it's up to you to expand your dominion through trade, diplomacy, or the might of your legions. So, if you choose to expand with the help of your mighty legions, it's a good idea to protect your cities from other rival governors.
And how you do this, right? So we got the walls now. We were only able to build the wooden walls up to this point, and now we also have the stone walls.
Raising an army is costly. Will your people work on the fields or fight on them? Send too many to the battlefields and you may face a workforce shortage. Use your naval forces to transport your units across the empire and strike strategically from afar. Your ships can bombard coastal defenses and tear down enemies.
Also, this is something that is interesting. You have now the new informations in the trailer already. Like in the beta, it was the old information. The old animations didn't look so nice, so they've refined the animations now.
Strategy
because obviously there are no
everything.
cannons, right?
Today we are demonstrating a flank,
ancient
a classic
times.
move to break enemy morale. But the battlefield is yours to command, and how you attack is up to you. Fight in dense city streets.
And then we have
create
land
choke points,
combat, so this is
or bait
absolutely
enemies
total war,
into
right?
traps. How you fight, where you fight, is all in your
And
command.
also, what's important to note here is that you can't build soldiers individually, right? You have battalions, you have whole legions that you're building, and then pushing onto the battlefields. You have potentially thousands of units on the battlefield.
The Emperor is watching every move you make, and you don't want his warboats arriving at your shore. Or, if you are craving a big battle, maybe you do, the cost of peace is yours to decide. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
So that was
the
land units, right? That was also new a bit. And then also, if you look at Steam, right? So we also have on Steam a bunch of new information and also new screenshots that I really love, by the way. So this is a new screenshot, right, that they released yesterday. And that was also just absolutely fantastic on the look. So on this one here, you also have now, once again, the stone walls, stone bridges. And as we explored already in the beta version, you can have now bridges that go 2 or 3 layers wide, right? So it's not only a single bridge anymore, like in 1800, but it's actually a bridge that expands now in size as well if you build several roads next to each other. That's something I really love about it. We can also see that there's different temples now, so you can have different deities in one city. And of course, towering above all is then the Coliseum. That's the #1 monument that you can build, like the World Fair, right? So we have the World Fair in Anno 1800, and now you have the Coliseum, which of course is a multiple stage building. And also, this is really interesting, that the Coliseum, it seems to me, is connected with the Aqueduct, right? So that it needs its own water supply. So I was already contemplating about how the Aqueduct is going to be integrated in an advanced city, because that's one of the features I'm looking forward to the most. And the Coliseum, of course, needs something like water. The cisterns need water. You need it for firefighting. So it will be really complex how you handle then the Aqueduct in your city. That's definitely going to be the new railway stuff, right? So in this case, how the railway system works, that's probably going to be the Aqueduct now, how you need to adjust that. So I'm really looking forward to this feature. That's something out of the new screenshot that we had. This is an old one. This is an old one already, the Albion. And this is once again showing the land units here. And yeah, beside all of that, new information that they released and the release dates, they also released the first season pack, right? So we have the gold edition now available. You get a pre-order bonus here, the builder pack. So that's just some ornaments, right? And then we also have all the way down here the first year pass, and you can already see what it's about, and actually has a bit more information on GameStar. So I don't know where GameStar got the information from because they don't list it, but that's 3 different DLCs we see here, right, for the first year. So these are not developed yet, right? They're going to be developed post-release. And the developer also mentioned that they have no idea yet how many season passes they're going to be. Like for Anno 1800, it was really successful. So they went with 4 season passes. So I can see that it's going to be the same again. But for the first season pass, you got 3 DLCs. The first one is adding new islands to the map. So that's already confirmed. That's these islands will have volcanoes on them that can erupt. So that's gonna be an interesting mechanic. Looking forward to this really. So you can make your own little Pompeii, right? That's something I'm looking forward to. Then we have the Circus Maximus. That's the next monument that you will be able to have, and it's probably gonna add a few more mechanics like the games, right? The big festival games and stuff like that. It's gonna be a gigantic monument that you can build on top of that. So I think this is a bit of like a smaller DLC, like the Botanica DLC that we'll see. And then of course the third DLC, the first major edition, is gonna be then Egypt, right? So building the pyramids or exploring the not building them, but exploring them, perhaps restoring them, but definitely doing something in Egypt. It's not named Egypt, but it's called, I think, the land of the pyramids, right? So you're going there like the land of Mbeza, right? Now you're going to Egypt then as the third edition for the DLC. So this is the first year pass. So already in the first year after release, we're gonna see Egypt. I was really hoping for this, and I'm also really excited about the volcanoes there. That's something to look forward to. Yeah, that's the first year, but of course the base game already has a lot of content in it, right? And that's where we continue onwards now in the base game again. And in this case here with the tag tree once again. But yeah, that's a lot of information they released yesterday, and I'm really excited also that November 13 has been confirmed, and I honestly don't think they postpone it. I don't think an Anno game ever has been postponed before, so I think they're pretty sure about this date, you know. And it's still half a year of time, so pretty sure we're gonna see it at this point, at the latest. Yeah, for the aqueduct, totally. You need to have the fixed amount of water sources, right? So that's definitely gonna be a limit, right? And I think when you reach the maximum of your water sources, that's it, because I can't see how we deliver water to your main island, right? Oil was logical somehow, but water will be difficult to transport. Yeah, beautiful graphics, right, Dream? I love it. All of the stuff that you see right now, all of the gameplay, right? That's all in full HD only, and it's also on like medium to high settings. It's not ultra graphics set, it's not 4K. So, you know, take this with a bit of caution there, right? It's not the final graphics. Also nice thing there. Yep, wake up. You most likely get the 20% discount on the game if you use your Ubisoft points. They still allow this on new games. That is pretty cool, I think. That's a bargain almost, like for a game like this, where you can easily have 1,000 hours of gameplay. So that's something to absolutely consider. Yeah, but the stone walls, they had wood, right? So the wooden structure was burnt down and the stone crumbled. I think that's how it's meant to be. Tourist mechanics would be nice, but I don't think there was tourism in Rome.
You look fit to take Olympus.
Double. I have no idea about new gameplay at this point. I'm in contact with Ubisoft, of course, and I'm annoying them whenever I can. So you'll definitely see new gameplay then once I have access to it. Right, because I'm super excited about this game. It's definitely my most anticipated game this year. And I'm saying this not because it's for my YouTube channel, right? Because I really am looking forward to this game. Also, we have the land units there again, so that's battalions, right? That we have not single units, so you have the whole battalion that you can then control, and it also costs you maintenance costs, it costs you upkeep in workforce. That's pretty important to know. So you cannot just endlessly push out units. You're definitely limited by economy and by the size of your city. So the bigger your city, the bigger your army gets, of course, which is only logical. What feature or aspect of 1800 do you think you'll miss in 117? Ooh. There's a lot I love about Anno 1800, right? I love the trains, right? So I'm definitely gonna miss trains. I'm always a sucker for this. I also miss the architecture, right? But of course, I'm still gonna play Anno 1800 afterwards, right? It's not the end of the game at all. You have a very dedicated modding community, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more stuff for Anno 1800 then as well. That I'm gonna cover, of course, as well. And of course, Miss Hunt. She's... she's grown on me. And... I have no idea yet who the new Miss Hunt will be. Because you will have new AI characters again, of course, right? And it'll just be one of them again. I don't think there is an ancient hunt, an ancient times Miss Hunt yet. Anno 1800 with the military tension mod. Yes, I have it on my list. Really, absolutely. I'm actually playing Anno 2205 right now as my next Let's Play. So I'm in the mood for it. For the sci-fi setting again. The legendary mod is definitely on my list though. So we'll have this one over the summer. I'm looking forward to it with the legendary difficulty AI opponents. So that we have the wooden palisade, and we now know, of course, that we can upgrade them to the stone walls. That's something I'm really happy to see as well. So there is another level of complexity. It'll be really interesting to see how all of this plays together, because right now it's looking to me at least extremely complex, right? When you have all these Age of Empires RTS mechanics, but of course it's still a very complex city builder, and you have so many things to manage. So we'll just see how all of that works out. I've already read a lot of criticism of Anno 1800 that it just becomes too complex mid-game onwards, and with all the DLCs especially, and it seems like with 117 they are pushing even more with the RTS combat, because as far as I can see right now, there's no big scrapping of features at this point, right? So everything you have in Anno 1800 basically is there in Anno 117 as well, in some kind of way, in some way. Right? They're not really scrapping a lot of stuff. So they're just adding a whole bunch of new layers of complexity. So instead of trains, you have the aqueduct, right? You still have monuments, you still have naval combat, you still have AI opponents. On top of that, you have now land units and fortifications and stuff like that. So gonna be interesting. Combat will most likely be like Total War, right? So it's a battlefield, it's in real time, it's not a separate map, it's on the same map, right? So on the same map that we see right now, you have combat. And it's gonna be like Total War, definitely, so, or in Manor Lords, right? Release date, November 13. Probably should pin this one. November 13. We already had it, right? The release trailer. So still a couple of months away. Charcoal is one of the construction materials. You can use it for construction of buildings. It's needed as an input for industrial buildings primarily. A lot of industrial buildings do need charcoal as an input.
Ate half my face.
So you need to build charcoal kilns, which once again also increase the fire hazard of the surrounding area. So you're very limited to the amount of charcoal kilns you can have on an island. Yeah, public buildings are very big in this game. They're definitely bigger than in Anno 1800. So you need to be more cautious. On top of the massive or the increased size of public buildings, you also have now the industrial buildings that you need to place in the city. So your city will, I think, look vastly different in 117 than in Anno 1800, right? Because of all the new mechanics kicking in for the city building aspect. Child is doing fine, thanks. Sleepless nights. She still needs to adjust to the day and night cycle. Until then, it's all a big blur to me.
May airless bag of winds help and not
Yes,
hinder.
there are independent traders again, like RG. I think 4 I've seen so far. Together with the pirates again. So you will also have a pirate again in Latium, where we are right now, and you will have a pirate in Albion, in the Celtic world. You can most likely turn off land combat by reducing the difficulty. I haven't seen the difficulty parameters yet. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be really detailed again, like in every Anno game, so you can adjust a lot of difficulty settings, right? And I'm pretty sure there will be something with land combat involved, right? So how many soldiers are being trained? Does AI actively engage in invasions? Stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna give you an option to reduce the stress of this. For those that just want to build. So that's almost guaranteed. I think Tropico 4 in terms of complexity is like the first 2 tiers of Anno, and then that's it at top level, right? And in Anno we got another 3 tiers, so that's I think how I would compare it. Tropico 4 is no comparison really. It's also a vastly outdated game at this point, right? It's old, so there's not that much content in comparison. Yeah, how the AI looks without mods. I think it's gonna be fine, right? You have different settings for sure. You will once again have the 1-star, the 2-star, and the 3-star opponents. You know, that's definitely there again. And you can then push them further, of course. And I'm pretty sure we're also gonna see mods, so the developers already confirmed as well that the modding will be greatly enhanced, so the modding capabilities. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna see much more complex mods in 117 than in 1800, right? Because the developer actively also supports this. Any new games from the Summer Game Fest that you're looking for? Nah, not really, honestly. I think the Plague Tale, the 3rd entry. I have no idea anymore how it's called. Resonance, right? I'm looking forward to this, probably next year, because I really enjoyed the first 2 games. Plague Tale. I like linear story games a lot. So there we also got fires. The occurrence of fire happens more frequently the higher your tiers are. That's something I noticed that is a bit strange, right? In Anno 1800 you have it the other way around. So the lower tier buildings catch fire more often, usually, than the higher tier buildings. So looking at the firefighters, of course, is always one of the first things I would like to do. How they are dousing the flames there for these beautiful buildings. But yeah, fires happen more frequently than a mid-tier city. That was something. Yeah, unfortunately no big strategy games, right? Anno 117 is my only strategy game I'm looking forward to right now. The prices of the game have already been released. They're on Steam right now. You can buy the game on Steam already. I'm not really into GTA. I've played GTA 5 like 6 years ago, but that's it. Let me quickly check up the price on Anno 117. It's actually on the Steam landing page right now. And it's gonna be 60 euro for the base version. But don't forget you can use your 20% discount for the Ubisoft points if you have that. And the gold edition with the first year DLC content is gonna be 90 euro, right? That's the edition where you have Egypt included, where you have volcanoes included, and where you have the Circus Maximus included. That's gonna be something to consider. Yeah, Egypt is DLC number 3. They've shown now that roadmap, right? So Season Pass 1, and Egypt will be at the end of that. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna go with the route again, like with Anno 1800, that you have a Season Pass for 1 year. And you get a bigger DLC at the beginning of the year, right? The first half. Then you get a small DLC during summer, usually, that has usually ornaments in it. That's gonna be the Circus Maximus for 117, so that's a monumental new one that we'll have. And then you have a big expansion DLC at the end of the year, and that's gonna be then Egypt for this one. I think with the first Anno it was it Crown Falls already? No, it was the Arctic, right? The first expansion DLC for 1800 was the Arctic, right? We went to the Arctic with the passage. My microphone is too low. Alright, let me check it out. Gonna reduce the in-game sound a bit further. There you go. Should be better now. I hope you can still hear the in-game sound. It feels more lively, for sure. More immersive, Jacob. That's because the city is much more detailed than in 1800. So that definitely made an impact. And also the pedestrians looking more detailed now. So they've definitely increased the polygon count for the pedestrians. So that's something that just adds a bit more atmosphere, right? And there's the bridge, by the way, right? So I'm really loving that new feature that finally we can have now a double and triple layer bridges or lanes, you know, bridges with 2 or 3 lanes. That's pretty great. It's small details, right? But they really listen. You get so many new details that I've criticized as well in the first game, in the predecessor. 1800, right? And they're really improving on so many levels, right? The bridges are just obvious again, but you have so many other quality of life features that you can only see when you really play the game. I think 1800 will still stick around for a while, right? Anno 1800. It's still a fantastic game. I think at this point it's timeless, right? With all the content. There's so many different ways to play the game. And it's just always looking fantastic. After a brief break, I usually have that itch again to start a new city. Especially since there's so many mods coming out right now. So it's just crazy. For 1800, like if you think it's the end of the game, right? There's so many mods coming out constantly. Greetings to UK there, Mike. Hope you're having a fine day. $340 mods, how is that possible? How can you do this to your PC? I think the max that I've played was 120 mods, but it was already pretty harsh then on performance. So I'm hoping they're increasing the mod count. So they've already confirmed that they're having a bigger mod support for this game, right? And I'm hoping that this also means that you can enable more mods without a performance hit. That increasing the basic code of it. So all the newcomers right now, because I see the question, you know, release date is November 13. When we can finally play the game. Hopefully before that. Hopefully there's going to be an open beta or something like that. Or something I'm allowed to show you. Right now I'm not allowed to show you anything past tier 3. And also not the Celtics yet, right? So the Celts, Albion, I would really love to show off something there.
Need something, Governor?
Or was it 160 mods? Ah, it could be. Could have been 160 mods. Can't remember it anymore. They already said they're improving the engine, of course. It's the same engine as 1800, right? They can't have a new engine all the time. So that's something to consider. But they're, of course, doing some improvements there. Additional performance tweaks. Also new tech that we're gonna see. I would love direct storage. I don't think they have announced it yet though, because direct storage is still very new, right, in game development. But direct storage really adds a lot to the loading time, so that would be fantastic. Cthulhu's Cult. No, I haven't tried this one. I think there's gonna be around 5 tiers. Greetings to Angola there. And Blackjack, hello. An unrest has started. Oh no. It starts again. Buildings can also be destroyed again, right? So if a fire or an unrest lasts too long, or the sickness, the plague, you're gonna lose the building. Of course, higher tier buildings last longer again. So smaller tier buildings usually like to collapse rather quickly. Yes, Egypt will be in the first year. It's the third DLC, released in the first year after release. That's Egypt for 117. So we're gonna see the pyramids. So we have now Latium, right? We have already 3 confirmed locations now. That's Latium, where we're playing right now. Then we have Albion for the Celts, which is going to be a darker area. It's looking like, you know, British landscape. Could also be Germany in some extent, honestly. And then we have Egypt as the third location. On top of that, we have already confirmed that there's going to be a DLC focusing on volcanic islands. That's going to be interesting. So we're going to see some volcanic mechanics. Volcanic mechanics, that sounds really cool. Where you can build cities around volcanoes. And these volcanoes will erupt. Already had that in 1404, right? Volcanoes. There's a new discovery, the Villa Visitation. So once again, that is something when we're building the grand buildings now for tier 3. That you also unlock new milestones for your tag tree. First year DLC, you can already look it up on Steam, right? They have released this yesterday. All the new information about about the DLC. Or you can also just have a look back in the video. Yeah, Blueprint looks fantastic, right? I'm a huge fan of the Blueprint mode, the new one. It looks like a painting. You can immediately see that it's blueprinted. And you can immediately see that you still need to build it, but it still looks really beautiful. And there's one of the bigger buildings now for tier 3, the theater. And you can also zoom in all the way to the stage and have a look at them. That's also something that we'll see in the coliseum, where you have the place then. And they've already teased a lot of detailed plays that we are gonna be able to see in the coliseum. So that's why you probably need the Aqueduct connection now to the coliseum, now that I think about it, because they showed gameplay of the coliseum where there's water in it, right? So water plays and stuff like that. Yeah, release date is November 13.
I'm fine.
It's not weird at all. Why? The game is coming out and the DLCs will then be developed. But you have a roadmap for the DLCs, right? It was the same in Anno 1800. You can buy the year 1 season pass and you know exactly what's gonna be included, right? Volcanoes, the Circus Maximus and Egypt. Doesn't mean that Egypt is finished yet. Doesn't mean that they even have started developing it yet. They just know they are going to go to Egypt when the time is right, in the first year. In this case, it's a bit messy how this looks, right? The blueprints. New island milestone has been reached. That's for the belief, the deity. Finishing the wells right now. That's for the firefighting then. You don't see a lot of difference between 1800 and 117. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I see a lot of difference. Enough for me to be hyped. Of course, it's still the same engine, right? It's still the same underlying foundation. But that's the nature of a game series. Now, every year there's gonna be a season pass, right? A season pass usually includes several DLCs. So for the first year, we have 3 DLCs confirmed at this point. That's the season pass 1. That is just like in Anno 1800 back in the day, right? With season pass 1. Doesn't mean that the content is there. Doesn't mean that they're cutting content out, right? It's just showing you that they have a roadmap to develop the game further once it's been released. And I think this is totally valid, right? To do. Heck, I want to see Egypt. If they have to develop all the features first, then we would probably need to wait many additional years for this game to come out. It's not the same UI, really. No, nothing beyond tier 3 is allowed at this point. You know, like, Egypt is coming out a full year after release of this game, so they're definitely not cutting it out. I don't think so. Stamps? I think stamps are included again, yes. Yeah, or Bente Jorgensen, right? The son of Jorgen. Could be Persia, could be, makes sense. I think Greek would also make a lot of sense. The a Greek world, so Greece, or the Balkans. Vikings, I think, are the wrong era. So this is one of the things, once again, that I don't like totally yet. That is you can have diagonal roads, right? But you cannot have diagonal housing blocks that merge together. So it gets a bit wonky there, right? You have the road, you paint the road, which looks fine. But then you have the houses, and the houses, they look a bit out of place sometimes. So you need to be very careful how you place the roads, especially in combination then with residential buildings. And yeah, that's also something I don't like so much, that you can't build that road in there. Even though it looks like you could build a road, it's not possible. PC requirements will most likely be the same as Anno 1800, I think. Perhaps a bit above that, as the graphics definitely have been enhanced. Especially shadows and lighting looks more refined to me than before, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be similar requirements. Building influence radius by roads. No, it's still there for industrial buildings mostly, but for public service buildings I think they are going with the radius route. Yeah. But that's not final, right? They can always switch this around. I think it's not too complex to change this. What embargo? There's no embargo. Other than the beta embargo. Which Anno DLC is your favorite? Crown Falls, of course. Without Crown Falls you would miss a lot. And then I would say the Skyscraper DLC. High Rise. That's also a very important one, I think. The equivalent of World Fair is gonna be the Coliseum. Multiple stage building that you can only build in an endgame city then. Okay, these buildings now that we have here, the construction materials cost me now also concrete. Alright, so we got the three basic construction materials. That is now the timber, the tiles, and the concrete. And then you have the charcoal, of course, on top of that. So for the industrial processing buildings, they mostly need charcoal. that we need to produce as well. But for charcoal, I can already see that we will need to have a special island for that, because charcoal is adding a lot of fire hazard to the island. There's still 2 construction materials missing. Yes, marble is... I can definitely see marble being one of them, yep. But there's still another one in between. Greetings to Germany there. Shizzle, glad you enjoyed the content. And I'm sure you're gonna like the next Anno game. If you like, you can basically say if you like 1800, then you're also gonna like Pax Romana, right? I can't see how you can't like this game if you like the predecessor, right? Yeah, we already have a building DLC confirmed, right? Like the Botanica DLC for 1800. We are also getting now the Circus Maximus as the first building DLC. It's probably gonna be in summer next year. So that's gonna be a new monument that we have with its own mechanics. Malcolm, welcome. Release date is November 13. Maximum tier for houses, I think it's gonna be around tier 5. I think. I'm not confirming this, right? It's just my guess. Yeah, Circus Maximus, that's a huge arena where horse racing takes place. Right, and we're gonna see a whole bunch of mechanics with that. Pretty sure of it, like the Botanica DLC. Perhaps even special items that you can use. Gonna go ahead with upgrading again. I really love the tier 3 buildings for the residential zones. So we've already seen now the tier 4 or 5 buildings in the trailer, right? In the new one that was released yesterday. And boy, very detailed. Beautiful. And also massive. Don't forget, this is not a big island we're playing on right now, right? So, you know, you can definitely go larger on islands when it comes to scale. But you will definitely also need to have several islands again to supply one city. So trade routes and trading definitely play a major role again. The same goes with, you know, specializing islands into production islands once more that you need to have then for your main island. It's a core gameplay, always has been in Anno. So you can always expect to have different islands, trade routes, logistics that you need to figure out. One of the cool things about the Anno games. This is my gameplay, yes, but it's a pre-recorded gameplay. Military focus DLC for sure. It's Rome after all, so makes sense to add military focus DLCs. In the first year we're not gonna see that. We already have the addition of the land units and the fortifications. That's an entirely new feature coming from 1800, right? So it's a whole level of complexity added there. So I don't think we're gonna see more military focus in the first year, at least for now. The maximum needs for houses, you mean? Yeah, it's definitely gonna be complex. Separate maps like in Besa. Yes, Minoda. You're gonna have Latium and Albion in the base game, right? And a year later they will release Egypt as a new map as well. So you have then 3 different sessions again that you need to manage. So Latium, Albion, and Egypt. So that's the Romans, the Egyptians, and the Celts that we have. Haven't seen anything about the Celts yet, right? Gameplay-wise. That's a huge mystery package there. Only screenshots. No gameplay yet. Looking forward to that. To the Celts then. Perhaps I can reveal it on my channel. That would be great. But nothing official yet. There's already a playlist of this game on my channel, right? The Anno 117 beta let's play. So the first 3 tiers. Yeah. Like Northern Africa, you know, you have Egypt with that, so that's that. But Greece I'm looking forward to. I hope they're doing something like there. Or Spain, definitely. Spain is interesting as a location. But I'm glad they're going to Egypt first. I was kind of like expecting it, you know, that they need to have Egypt. It's one of the most prominent and one of the most important and prominent provinces of the Roman Empire, so makes sense to go to Egypt.
Perfect for the governor's visit.
Yes, the first DLC is gonna be about volcanoes. The second DLC is gonna be about the new monument, the Circus Maximus, and then we have Egypt as the third major DLC in the first year. Malcolm, it was like that in 1802. You start with the New World and the Old World, and then it expands to Endbesa, to the Arctic, to Crown Falls. It makes sense to me to add new sessions in DLCs. It's pretty complex. Yes, items are there, right? Items, special items that you can buy. You can find them on quests. You can find them on ships, on debris. You can use them. Ah, that's annoying. Tricky with the balance, yep. Yeah, it is. Let me check this up.
Men who drink water right little of use.
60 euro, right? At the beginning. Yeah, euro. I don't know what the dollars are for that, so probably 70 euro, $70 at this point, because the difference is quite there yet already. Nah, they're definitely not gonna focus on anything political, right? Or religious. So you have religion in this game, but it's always like, you know, pretty standard stuff you see. So they're definitely not focusing on any conflicts that were there in real history. They're just taking over the theme of the whole thing, right? They're not focusing on politics. Indian region. I think that's far-fetched, but we'll just see. No idea about this. Mayor's Building Gardens. Yeah. It's not a real city if there isn't a plague, a fire, and a riot at the same time. It always needs to be there, right? My people are always passionate. Yeah, definitely. I'm also looking forward to how mods are gonna affect the game again, right? So, for a true mega city. They haven't... That's interesting, actually. Yes, they haven't announced any Crown Falls like DLC for the first year. So I can only assume that we have massive land masses already in the base game, right? Because I can't see how they would delay something like a Crown Falls like landmass in the base game now that we already know about it, right? Like Crown Falls. So we're already familiar with a landmass of that size. So I can only see that something like Crown Falls is already gonna be in the base game, a land mass size thingy, right? So something like that, like in Anno 2205, where you have Wildwater Bay as a massive landmass, and Crown Falls in 1800. I hope that we already have something like that in the base game, right? Without the need of a DLC, because it makes sense. It's a city builder, right? You want to build big cities, so it should be there. There should be a massive landmass, a massive land. Perhaps, you know, a continent, a peninsula, something like that, where you can build something on without the constraints of smaller islands. Release date November 13. Paved roads also confirmed, of course. Alright, so we've seen the first stuff of paved roads. Let me just check that. Perhaps I find a trailer of that. Wait a second. Paved road. Where was it? In the tag tree, I think it was. There it is. Found it. Check it out. That's the paved roads. Unlock with tax, right? So you need to research that, and then you get paved roads in your city. And it looks like once again we can, you know, we can immediately build them. We can immediately upgrade them over the existing roads. That's definitely something. And you can also see then here how you can go into this, so the paved roads. So this is a discovery that is hidden in the discovery tree. That is something gonna be like the paved road. So you cannot build them like right away, right? You need to discover them first. You need to get them done. The same goes with the Blood of Terror, so you can find iron, and this allows mining of iron ore even on islands without a deposit. And then you also have the Protective Entourage, a personal guard that you can have. So these are tags that you can find by reaching certain goals, right? Certain milestones. And once you've done that, you can then push for paved roads. right? But I haven't found them on the tech tree here. So, you know, that has wells. I don't know where paved roads are though, right? So it's hidden, as they said. There's only a road upgrade that makes traveling faster. That's the icon you can see down there with the paved roads, but nothing with paved roads yet. At least in the version that I played, right? But it's gonna be there, of course, because it's been confirmed at this point. You can definitely have a more war-focused game in Pax Romana than in 1800, right? You have way more tools than before. So that's something to consider. You have land units, you have more ships, or deeper ship system, right? So you can totally make a total war let's play out of it, if you want. But of course that would not be the goal of this game, I think. Luigi, thank you very much for your subscription. Glad you enjoy the content. Release is November 13. So that's once again something, right? We have the fixed coastal sites for the rivers. You have the fixed mountain slots, right? But then you have limitless coastal slots, right? So on the coast, you can build as many buildings as you can fit in, right? So it's like in 1800, but when it comes to rivers and when it comes to mountains, it's once again fixed. So you need to have deposits there. No info about the beta yet, nope. Oh, greetings to a Swiss living in California. I see you escaped the weather. You can definitely tone down the fighting as well, right? If you don't enjoy fighting combat and just want to build stuff, right, then you can just also do that, of course. So you can tone it down on the slider again, like in 1800, right? You can also make a total pacifist playthrough if you like to. That's always one of the big advantages I loved about Anno, right? That they always give you the option. Do you want to go the easy mode? Do you want, which is totally fine, right? Do you want to go an easy, relaxing way? Do you want to go the middle route, or do you want to go hardcore with everything toned up, including combat? I like this, right? And you don't even need to go into the military stuff. You can also just choose an opponent that pushes economy, right? That wants to take you over with shares. So there's a whole bunch of different ways the game gives you, makes it possible for you to enjoy the game. And I think that's how it should be. I'm not a big fan of games that push you into a very difficult setting, right? Without you having a choice. So games should be there for also relaxing for those that like it. And Rodlaub, hello there, greetings. Hope you're having a fine day.
It feels like
Yeah,
it does you good.
I haven't seen that much of religion yet, right? So we'll just see. In the version that I was able to play now, that we have here right now, it's very basic, right? So you build a temple, you have a god, and people worship that god, and then you unlock more powers down the road. So it's definitely gonna be something like that. Yeah, I think we're gonna see that again, right? So AI with character, AIs that have their specific characters, with some of them focusing more on economy, others focusing more on expansion or on conquest. Now that's one wonky road. But it's important, right? So this is something that's gonna play a major role again. Moving buildings around, remodeling your city as you progress. Especially since the service buildings are pretty massive. They're way bigger in size than in 1800. So it's gonna be more difficult for sure. A mod enhancing religion. That's probably possible, yes. Why not? You're gonna have more options for mods in this game than before. My impressions, I've made actually a video about it, right? We do have a video as well, but so far I'm very impressed with it. So I think we're gonna see a big hit there in November. There's no reason I would believe right now that this game would be a buggy mess, right? So they're very transparent with what they're showing and what I've played so far. And I think this is gonna be probably one of the best city builders that we've ever seen before on this scale. So they've been cooking this game for a while now, right? And you can see that there's a lot of stuff here that you can love about this game. There's no iron deposit anymore. There's only a mountain slot that you can use. So that's something new, right? You don't have a limestone deposit or an iron deposit or coal deposit anymore. You have like 8 mountain slots on an island now, and you need to decide what you use that mountain slot for. Can be an iron that you mine out of that, can be coal, can also be water, right? If you attach an aqueduct to it, you get water out of the mountain side.
On the Lady Honorata's
Yes, they're like in 2205.
Enjoy yourself and be merry.
Release date, November 13.
Predictable, I guess. It's not a very nice thing, having to say no to all of them at once, but really.
Yeah, this is one of the new neutral traders. And by the way, just out of context here, but I've just got a PS5 Pro and I was checking out Anno 1800, so perhaps you're interested in how Anno 1800 plays on the PS5 Pro. I'm gonna show this actually, I think, on Thursday in a live stream. So having some fun there with the DualSense and Anno 1800. It's definitely different. November 7. 11/7. Phoenix, hello there, welcome. Yeah, in 2017, in Anno 2017, we also had mountain slots, right? Yeah. This is interesting, right? With the villa, that's definitely not finished. So we have the palace icons from Anno 1800 as a placeholder. At least it looks like that to me. And yes, Egypt. Yeah, we're going to Egypt in the first year after release. So that's gonna be a new session, right? We have 3 sessions with that confirmed. So at release, you can play in Latium, where we are right now, and we can play in Albion. That is gonna be the Celts. So this is like New World scope, I think. And then they're gonna add Egypt again. And I think you can expect something like Beza, scale-wise, scope-wise, right? So probably a campaign again, and definitely more buildings, more mechanics again. So I think we can expect something like this when it comes to how much content there's gonna be. So I think content-wise, we're looking at a pretty similar scale than Anno 1800, right? I think it's pretty much the same. That counts for release, so I think we're gonna see the same amount of content as Anno 1800 release, with just more. Actually, it's more features, right? When you think about it, we have the land combat stuff, we have the fortification stuff. That's definitely a bit more, I think, than Anno 1800. And then the DLCs are gonna add pretty similar stuff again than we've seen before. So at the beginning of the year, you usually get
I love
a smaller mechanic DLC. So that's gonna be confirmed the islands with the volcanoes. Then we're gonna see a cosmetic DLC. So the Circus Maximus, that's like the botanical DLC. And then we're gonna see a major content expansion a year later. And that's gonna be Egypt again. Of course, there's gonna be patches in between, you know, yeah. Quality of life improvements, stuff like that. You always have that. I think it will be on the same level as 1800, yes. You can expect that.
Ooh, it's a deal.
I don't think... Oh, I think we're gonna see expeditions. Yeah. I think this is the way you unlock the Albion, right? It makes sense for Romans to go on an expedition. I don't think they've scrapped this one, but I can't confirm it at the moment. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I don't think we have New Year. I mean, I'm a bit sleepy. It could be that I've missed a couple of days.
These were generous terms.
So there are the items again, right? Some have been asking if there's items again. Yes, we have ship items. We have items. We have captains, right? That's a new addition actually that you can assign to ships. Then you have the ship items. Then you have the production items. Then you have the city items again, and then you have items for attraction and stuff like that. That's also gonna play a role again. Daniel, hello there. Hope you're having a fine day. So there we have the service buildings then. As we can see with tier 3, we now need to provide 5 to 6 service buildings. So the complexity goes up there a bit. They also want a cistern access now, so that's the aqueduct. And for the aqueduct, you will need to have then all major construction materials ready. So that's also going to include then the concrete and the charcoal. That's good to hear. I think Anno has the same meaning in every language, right? Because it's Latin. Europa Universalis. Yes, that looks interesting. Gonna have a look at that for sure. Well, what about Egypt? Okay, so there's the mountainside. That's the whole weapon industry, right? So of course you need to also produce weapons if you want to have soldiers. You need to produce the weapons with a weaponsmith, an armorsmith. You need to have a forge for that, and you need to have the barracks. The barracks also unlocks a discovery again. That gives you a new attack down the road that you're gonna need. And you will need the weapons plus workforce. That's interesting, right? You need workforce as well to train units. Depending on the amount of, or the type of unit that you have, it's gonna be peasants, but it's also gonna be higher tiers. Gold from Egypt? I don't know. I imagine we're gonna need grain from Egypt. Lots of grain for juicy bread. Like, I think that's the major thing why Egypt was so important, right? And I can see that, as bread was also always scarce when I played this version. Time will fly. There's also summer in between, enjoying some warm air, and then once winter comes around, we get the new Anno. Better timing. There's no better timing than that, right? Marble production here. Definitely a construction material. It hasn't been revealed yet. We'll just see. No idea what the other two construction materials will be.
Nice place you got.
Playtest. Well, I'm not expecting it before summer, right? Next playtest, I think September, October even, will be an open beta, most likely. but I'm not expecting anything during summer. And we're at the beginning of summer now, so I think September is the earliest that you can expect a public playtest. Valbukalen, hello there, wow, long year viewer. And I remember making islands with your name years ago. Glad you're still around. Yes, you will be able to fight on land with soldiers. And you will need to have walls and towers. Yeah, looks like it's specialist islands. I have no idea if there's other buildings though at the moment that add specialists, right? So far only the villa has it, but the villa can be expanded, right? So I have no idea how high the amount of slots will be, but there's more and more slots unlocking as your city gets bigger. So we'll just see how many specialists you can actually add to the island.
Let there be oaths of
Request for trade.
friendship between us. What a move!
There's no real disappointment that I've seen so far. So I've played the game for quite a few hours now, and there's no real disappointment, I'd say, right? It's pretty much what I expected this game to have, and it has it all, right? And expands on that. Beautiful graphics, beautiful soundtrack, complexity is there for sure. So it's all there, right? The only small disappointment I have so far is the UI, perhaps a bit. Hope they're reducing the convoluted nature of it a bit, right? But that's the only thing that I would criticize at the moment. I think everything else is pretty much what it should be. A president subscription, thank you very much. I'm not a very war focused person myself, so I'm trying, of course, to give you the full scope of the game. So we are definitely gonna see land combat in my Let's Plays as well. But I consider myself rather the city builder, right? And the logistics type. So this is pretty much the full scope of the tier 3 city that we've seen so far. It's not even all of it, right? Because I was not allowed to build all the buildings in tier 3. So this is a tier 3 mid-sized city that we're seeing right now, but you know, it's not all of it. So there's even more to tier 3 than what we see right now, which is pretty cool, I think, because that's only mid tier. Yeah, 1800 UI is pretty great, I think. Yeah.
It's Sardine and I. We're both very small fish.
There is. So they've already shown some improvements there, right? So land combat wise, it's pretty similar to Total War games. So they've improved this a bit. I don't think we need to build camps anymore. That was a bit annoying in 1404. A bit clunky. So I think it's really just now invasion type stuff. Going in with the units, fighting. Tactics will play a role, of course. You have different formations, different type of units, you know, countering each other. So also terrain, of course. Look at the maps, right? You've got rivers, you've got mountains, you've got elevation. It's gonna be interesting how these battles will actually be fought on these massive islands. So in 1404 you had only flat terrain, right? And now you have all this additional stuff, like all the elevation things coming in. So gonna be interesting. Is it safe to add a mod into the game? Yeah, of course. It's really no problem at all. You download the mod and put it into the mod folder of the game, or you even install it just in the game itself. There's a mod browser in Anno 1800 itself, right? You can just open that, install the mod, and it works. And if you uninstall the mod, it's gone again. And most mods are safe game compatible, right? So you can always just fiddle around there. Yeah, but the ruins, I have no idea. So we'll just see how the ruins work out. Right now, you can only demolish them. Perhaps there is something more to them. In this version I'm playing right now, you can only demolish them, right? They're just there for the looks. So there's the aqueduct then, right, with the concrete. I think that, yep, that's the last thing that we are allowed to explore. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different things like the tunica that you can have, right? But we're not allowed to build that yet. But with the aqueduct, that was already really fantastic. So that's the base aqueduct. And I'm pretty sure at this point that the coliseum and other buildings will also need aqueduct connection. So we'll just see how that plays out then in a bigger city. Right, so you will need to rethink your city once aqueducts are being unlocked. Mods will be supported from the beginning, yes. I don't know if there's a mod browser though. They've only stated that mod support will be supported and also increased. Right, so they're allowing you to mod more stuff in this game than before. That's interesting, right? So sometimes you can build the aqueduct over a building, sometimes you can't. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Perhaps you need to snap to the road. Or you just flat out remove the buildings in between. Yeah, could be. In this case, we just remove them and move the cistern over. I really just want to show you the cistern there, right, with the water connection.
Committed to public health. Hygiea protect us both.
And this is something that immediately kicks in. That is the water level of the cistern, together with the fire safety reduction, right? So fire hazard is going drastically down once you finish this. That has a pretty... You can only see the number +3 there, right? It doesn't mean that much by itself, but it counts for every building in its surrounding area, and that really adds up. So that's where the speciality of the aqueduct comes in. So I think it's going to be a really important mechanic of this game. Getting that message all the time is a bit annoying. But it is what it is. So we cannot build over that, right? I think industrial buildings might be excluded from going over them. Or you just really can't simply build over them. That's probably something to not have, right? And then of course we have also different time of day settings again, right? So you can have dusk, you can have dawn, you can have nighttime again. So this is all in the game, of course, again. And it looks fantastic during night, right? That's the Roman city there. Also, when you see the elevation of the island, so you have more elevation now than before. And you can also turn it off, right? Day and night cycle, you don't need to have it if you don't like it. I usually set it off, right, if I want to just build. And then if I want to enjoy the atmosphere, I'm gonna activate it again. yeah, I think it's gonna be a fantastic game.
I can see you're committed to public
And we're
health.
gonna have a lot of fun with that. So this concludes the live stream for today, right? Because I need to go now. I've shown you everything. So for those of you that missed it, November 13 is the release date, and all the new features that are new since yesterday, you can also see at rather the beginning of the video, as I'm showcasing that. And of course on Steam, the game has also been updated again. One last thing, by the way, if you don't know this, I want to show that to you. And that is the DAF block that we have there, right? If you're new to Anno, there is the Anno Union page for you to enjoy. So if you're interested in more information about Anno, where I'm getting my information from, that's the Anno Union. So this is the general page of this game, right, where you can see all the new stuff, also all the DAF blocks coming in that we have. So yesterday there was the discovery tree that was shown. So there's a whole bunch of information you can look up, and perhaps I'll make a video of that again together then with the paved roads then once more. So that's also one of the great new features they've shown, so that of course we can pave the roads again in this next game. So far so good. I hope you enjoyed this little live stream for all the new information that we have received, plus additional gameplay. As always, looking forward to this, and if you're interested into the game, then don't forget to check out my channel, so you can see the latest information then as well right away. I'm hoping that we see a new beta version of the game soon that I can show you, that I'm allowed to show you, and I'm really hoping that we can see the Celts soon as well, because I'm interested in them as well. So that's that. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and see you also in the comments. I'm going to read them again as always. Cheers!